Well, hello there, fam. Welcome to You Plant, We Water. I am your host, Dr. Toya Flowers, licensed professional counselor with a specialization in couples and family counseling, as well as a professor of counseling with a PhD in, you guessed it, counseling. All right. And my distinguished co host, as always, who also happens to be my biological sister.
Hi. Sorry, we're getting off to a silly start. No, I'm Trisha. I'm a minister and a lifestyle coach, and we're so happy that you guys are here.
We are. And, we have been doing just a lot of work in spiritual warfare. We've been hitting some really heavy topics, praying over our children, breaking generational curses, forgiveness, all of those things. So, in some ways, we're going to lighten it up a little bit, but maybe not. We have to see what direction it goes. But we're going to talk about what would you call them? We're going to talk about hot topics, I guess, things that are happening in the media and things like that. And we're going to weigh in. You all haven't heard this in a while with our petty, professional, and or prophetic insights that nobody asked us for. Hey, so said that, let's get started. Oh, but before I say, I'm sorry, I forgot to remind everyone what the purpose of the show here in this corner of the world. We are focused on talking about any and all topics related to mental health, your faith, and having the happy, healthy, thriving relationships that you deserve. We have a Faith Over Fear 90-day challenge that you can join at any point. So please visit our Facebook page, which is You Plant, We Water. Now, having said that, let's get in. So first topic we're going to talk about is maybe like a couple weeks ago, I saw the is she an R&B star, pop star, whoever she is, Sierra, right? Very popular. I saw her on a talk show, and the host was talking to her about her husband. What's his name? Russell Wilson, right? He was quarterback. I don't know if he still is. I think somebody might have got his position. But anyway, that's not even a hot topic. Okay. So they were talking about her and her husband's relationship. And they were saying that, amongst other people, or I don't know, I don't think it's even just celebrities. Let's just say in Black culture, her husband has been coined a simp, right? And a simp, as I asked my 13 and 18-year-old sons, like, give me the definition of a simp, right? But a simp is somebody who's like a sucker for their lady, their woman, right? They'll do anything for her, so they call them a simp. Does that sound about right? All right, so we're going to weigh in on that. Is Russell a simp or is he winning? Okay. Trish, what are some of your initial thoughts?
Well, in my mind, he's definitely a winner, and Sierra really did get a great guy, right? Because she came into the relationship with a child from Future, who is a lot, okay? And it was a bad boy, and I saw that series, or I've seen a lot of different things. And one of the things that Sierra had mentioned, please do not quote me on this, but she was saying that she used to have this thing where she liked people that were a little bit more
Toxic. No.
Toxic and bravado.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And so when she got with Russell Wilson, he was calm. And so sometimes that kind of like shocks you when you're used to a lot of adrenaline, right? So you're like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? And so to me, he is definitely a winner.
So here's my 2 cents, which are very similar. I like that you talked about the dynamics between the two of them, and that is true. Sometimes, and I might have said this before, but that funny feeling you get in your gut, the butterflies, they say sometimes that's a warning. That's your intuition telling you that your nervous system is activated because this person may not be emotionally safe for you. But with ladies, we can see it different. And admittedly, in my younger years, up till college, I was I used to like the bad boys so much so that I remember our mom telling me, um, because I had introduced her to a guy I had met in school I was dating for some years. And she was like, "You went all the way away to college to find the most derelict person that was on campus." I was like, "Yeah." Fortunately, I grew up and matured. So having said that, I would agree as far as outside world looking in and seeing that, this is a man who shows up for his family every day despite a demanding career. He is there for his kids, his wife, and she never has to question his love for her or his family. And that is not a simp. I don't care what we say. I hate that in Black culture, there's this promotion, right, of being a womanizer or a player or dogging your woman out. Like, come on, y'all. It's 2025. Like, if we could promote the thing that really benefits future generations to come, a happy, healthy Black family, Black love that's secure and grounded, that will benefit the entire Black community and culture and the nation. So I say not a simp. And the ones that's saying it, you're the simp or the wimp. I'm making up stuff. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm saying check yourself, right? Come on, y'all. Let's not be the ones to attack Black love, right? As we sit on the sidelines judging. Like, let's not do that. So petty wise, my petty statement is mind your business. Oh, you ever thought?
So my petty, which is kind of comical because I'm silly, right? So Jesus would have been considered a simp. And that's the type of man that I'm looking for, someone that has those qualities. So you don't want to necessarily go off of the world standards of when you're picking someone. So that's my petty. Like, I would rather have a Russell. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. Jesus would have been a simp. Jesus was in there flipping tables. He had that bravado, shutting people down. No, I'm just saying.
Well, he had both sides. And that's the thing, even with Russell Wilson. Yeah. He was a football player. So clearly he has the masculine, what we would consider. And that's something that's a whole nother topic. What we consider masculine is not necessarily masculine. It can be toxic. And so that's the thing that we, get misconstrued. And that's why we have to be careful so that we're not going out there and making ourselves find people that are not beneficial. So,
yeah. And I would just say that some of this within the Black community of seeing something that's positive as a negative is stemming from Willie Lynch, right? Like, so a Black man who's loving his wife and his family and trying to look at that negatively, I would say that's stemming from that Willie Lynch letter. Just like if you are too smart, that's negative, right? Like, oh, yeah. Or you're a lame if you're too smart. Like, get over it. All right, so that petty, I say mind your business. Professional, I say professionally, I encourage clients who are struggling to find examples of couples who are doing things right and are winning and model yourself after them. So who knows, maybe Sierra, we're not in their household, but there are many things that we could model from what we see from the outside looking in. And then prophetic, I just pray that God continues to bless them and their family.
Absolutely. And then she said a prayer for her husband. So, and I don't know the exact one, but you guys can look that up. But she said a prayer to receive that help from her husband and God and everything. And so I encourage you, if you're out there looking for somebody, or we would hope that you're not looking for somebody, but when God sends someone your way, that you've already started preparing for that process.
Yeah. So let's see our comment. Definition also handpicked men, right, who don't have a backbone and anyone can manipulate. Yes, to do whatever you want, including men are always submissive to dominant women. Well said, right? Thank you. That's a great definition of simp. And there is something to say about that, right? Like in any relationship, you do want to have a balance. You don't want it to be out of order, right? So I'll just say that. All right, so that's one hot topic. Trish, you had come across another.
So there's this debate, and it happens a lot. So there's a young lady named Claressa Shields who's a professional boxer, and Cardi B, who is a professional rapper or a superstar. And one of the things that's been going on is, why was Claressa Shields being kind of targeted because she's dating a guy that Remy Ma dated, whatever. And people were saying they're being really hard on her. And with Cardi B, who is now pregnant by someone who is not her husband, people are like, yeah, you know, she got enough money to be able to do these things. So, whatever. I think that both, in my opinion, need a little work. But we shouldn't be just going off of if someone has money and they're having children out of wedlock. It's still going to end up being something that's difficult to navigate. And with Carissa Shields, the reason that people are bringing her up is because the guy that she's with is not technically divorced, but they may have been, so I don't know. But people are saying, you know, they're moving too fast. Well, the good thing about her is she doesn't have a child with him and they're not doing anything where other people are involved. So that's the thing. We just have to be mindful and realize that a lot of times we're making these decisions off of superstars and they're not, either one of them are not really killing it in the dating field. What is your opinion?
So, because I haven't followed, and you mentioned it to me, but I'm not. So, is the debate that one is moving too fast and one isn't, or what's the controversy?
The controversy
about the
is they
difference
think
between
that
the two.
Cardi B is doing the right thing in
Okay.
her way of how she's handling. She's not divorced all the way yet either.
Mhm.
And Clarissa Shields, I'm not sure what the technical thing with them is, but they're saying that what she's doing is wrong. And I'm saying that both of them are technically not doing things according to scripture.
Interesting.
What
Yeah.
advice would you give to both of them? Because they're both going into very tough processes. Not so much just dating is what I'm saying. You're trying to figure out what to do. What advice would you give to both of them?
Well, with dating, I don't know. With Clarissa Shields, it sounds like she's single and has been dating. So I don't know that she's rushing into anything per se. I don't know. And with Cardi B, I know she had a very tumultuous marriage with, all kinds of things, some verbal and psychological abuse, and allegedly, I don't know. I'm not in a household with them. So I don't know, and I also don't know the status of the separations or divorces. I know Remy Ma and Papoose, that was the guy. I know they've been on the outs for quite some time. So it would be difficult for me to give advice, but what I would say about the debate is we just want to be mindful of creating double standards, right? So if it's the same core issue and there's two people in doing this, then the final decision probably would be the same, unless you know something about extenuating circumstances. I don't know. Maybe it's been years. I really don't know. I haven't followed their marriages or divorces, whatever they're doing that closely. But I think to your point about, an apple is an apple for the most part. However, I guess there are varying degrees. You wouldn't want to eat a rotten apple versus a not ripe apple. I don't know.
A crab apple.
Right. If the rationale is just about one has money and doesn't and all of that, I think, I don't see what that has to do with anything. But what I think is shining light on is sometimes a lot about what's going on in social media and in the news is more about popularity than anything else, right? Cardi B is a rapper who has a lot more popularity than Clarissa Shields as a boxer. And Remy Ma, who is also a rapper, has a lot more popularity as well. So I think sometimes the fan base of these superstars can be very harsh and critical. I know there's a joke, don't come for Beyonce and her beehive, else they will sting you. So maybe it's some of that in there as well.
We had a question. Should they be dating? We don't know. It's just something that we are just trying to just shed the light on. Like, be mindful, and I would say seek God before you start anything that you're doing, because that's the one thing that we can see is probably missing. I don't know, because I'm not in their relationship. It probably didn't, and that creates a lot of heartache for you in the long run.
Yeah, great question. Should they be dating? I think that's certainly going to depend on more of the details, and then the dynamics between the person they're dating and their estranged or ex partner or spouse and all of that. So I don't know. I'm gonna say less about that one because I'm not sure, and I should have probably looked into it to know a little bit more to the dynamics. But what I can say, prophetically wise, right? While we should speak on things that as iron sharpens iron, and we should hold each other to the standards of the Bible and God. The Bible also says, judge not lest ye be judged, and we cannot separate the wheat from the tares. And in this case, I don't know which one's a wheat and which one's a tare.
Agreed. I think that was a great and fair statement, because we don't know the real story behind any of it. It's just, hot topic for the day. So,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So that's another interesting one. This one is not so hot and may not even be so interesting, but it's about Channing Tatum, who is a white actor, and his new paramour. But apparently, they were at a red carpet event and they were having heavy displays of PDA, which is known as public displays of affection. What are your thoughts? Yay or nay to PDA?
again, without having like more of the backstory, if they were doing it and it was from a genuine place, I hope it wasn't for a place to like get attention. Then it wouldn't be good for me. Like I wouldn't want to have that being done. But if it was a genuine and this is just who you are and you guys are in the right standing, then cool. But if you're doing it so that you can have shots for paparazzi, I'm not cool with that.
Yeah, and I don't know what they were doing. From the what I read, it seems I think they're newer in their relationship, so all the feels may be feeling. And generally speaking, as far as public displays of affection, hugs, kisses, whatever you might do to show wrap your arm around your partner. I say if you're in a loving, committed relationship and that's what makes the two of you happy, go for it. But again, it should be genuine in what both of you want, and be mindful of remaining decent in order. But I think PDA is great, especially if you and your partner both agree on it. Have at it with each other, that is. I don't have anything. I guess that was the petty part. So, any other things you've heard of, or you want me to share something? I have one that's a little bit more general that just came up through. It's just like a general question through our little fan base.
So I want to mention this because I don't know where this is coming from. Don't be scared. No. So the new movie that Tyler Perry came out with, Ruth and Boaz. So it's sort of similar, but it's more about the actual movie. So some people are like, the movie wasn't as it was more for entertainment purposes versus scripturally based. I would agree with that. But the thing was, are you guys preparing to be Ruth or Boaz scripturally in the movie or whatever context this is? And a lot of people are like, no, because we don't even really know the story. And so for
Oh, wow.
myself, I had to go back and read the story because I'm like, well, wait a minute. And so much had come from that where I realized that although I love Ruth and Boaz, as I went back and did my studying on it, he was a lot older than she was, and he had to do it. I don't want to necessarily get married with the intention of having to do it. I want to know that this person is actually seeing me. And that's something that I hadn't even thought about when I was watching the movie. I'm like, oh,
Oh, so we are the complete opposite in this. I have not seen the movie, but the story of Ruth and Boaz is one of my favorites in the Bible. So I am very well versed in it. And her mother-in-law, Naomi, and the loss of her first husband to death, and how, she told her mother-in-law that her mother-in-law, who was a Hebrew, that her people would now be her people. But anywho, and from Ruth and Boaz, that is where we get David. From David, we get Solomon, and eventually we get Jesus, right? So, love this story, but I have not seen the movie. But as far as the biblical story of Ruth and Boaz, um, like I said, I love it. And yes, the thing that stands out about it is that he was significantly older. And so for years, I have been around women who have said, I gotta find me a Boaz. And that's meant she's looking for an older, mature gentleman, or it has signified that age gap. And I think age gap relationships can be great. It can be really rewarding. All types of relationships have their challenges. Nowadays, here's something. There's a reversal, right? So Ruth and Boaz is about a significantly older man and a younger woman. But now in the 2025s, there's this dynamic of a significantly older woman with younger men. And so I've been seeing a lot of that even on social media. And I guess to your point was about knowing the person wants you for you, um, and your character. That would be an interesting piece as well. But I know if we think biblically and even just in older times, people got married less for love because there was such things as arranged marriages and things like that. I don't think now I'm on the thing. I don't that doesn't necessarily mean their relationship weren't full of love. The
Mhm.
research modern day shows that people who are arranged in marriage tend to have more satisfying, longer lasting marriages. So there's still arranged marriages in different cultures, such as Indian culture and things like that. And the research shows that those last longer. Now, I don't know why, but interesting. So I love thinking about it. He said, "How was the movie? Was it good, bad?"
The
Now we're Siskel and
movie
Ebert. Thumbs up, one thumb up. What would you say?
the movie was good, and but it was not contextually no.
Okay.
But what I liked about it, because I did watch it with my daughter, is it opened up, and she's like, "Well, what does it do?" And so we had to go and do Bible study. But if you're thinking that you're gonna get the biblical context,
No,
I mean, they did do a little bit, but it's a movie, and it's not. I don't know. I want to say fictional, but I don't want to say, but it's good. It's something good that you can watch and you will enjoy it. And there are pieces that are biblically sound, but there are lots that are not.
And there you have it. You heard it here first. Hey, I'll have to check it out. But yeah, I love the Bible story. It's such to me that whole story. It's about as a marriage and couples counselor in particular, and families. I love the generational aspects. I love the obedience, the faith in it all, and like trusting God. Like love it. So I might be highly disappointed in the movie. Like I wanted to see some people working in the field and then leave a little extra for them to pick. Look, I'm getting into the biblical story.
Well, you'll get to see that, but not the extra, but you will get to see them in the field. And it's a cute movie, but I don't want you to get your hopes up
Yes.
as in it's biblically sound, because it's not. It's like, But it was very entertaining, and it does open up the door for communication and Bible study.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. So something to check out, and maybe we'll revisit, and I'll let you all know. How did I chime in? What was I thought? But I heard it was good, and I was gonna watch it, and then I heard it really didn't have much to do with the Bible story. So then that delayed it because I got swamped with other things. So I look forward to checking it out. Love that. And interestingly, since we start talking about that, and even a little bit of the age gap between Ruth and Boaz and all of that, this last more general piece, which is going to tie in, and we can talk about it really quickly, was on generational conflicts. What are our thoughts on a family that's struggling with differences in values, beliefs, and lifestyle between the older and younger generations?
What I like to do is go to what's familiar, because we can get caught up in the differences, but there's some things that are key for every generation. Every generation is going to have a struggle, even back to biblical times, right? So every generation is going to have a struggle. If we can focus on the things that we share similarly, you can learn from each other. So there's some knowledge and wealth that can be taught from someone that's older, and there's some knowledge and wealth that can be taught from someone that is younger. But typically, when we have the arguing or disagreement part, it's because neither one is able to give grace in here. We had a similar situation like that at my home with my daughter and me. We were in two separate things. But when you get to the core of what's going on, ultimately it's kind of the same thing. Everybody wants to feel safe. Everybody wants to feel loved. But you do have to be open to, it may not be, and it could be better. It may not be what you think. So that would be my 2 cents.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that, what would I say? Trying to be as open-minded as possible on both ends goes a long way. If you're the younger generation, respect for your elders goes without saying, right? So we're definitely not talking about that. Our elders deserve to be respected and reverenced for all that they did to help us get to where we are. Now, having said that, if we can be open-minded and understand we came from different times, there's a video, and maybe I'll try to share it on our Facebook page, but it just gives like a brief 30 seconds about each of the different generations and what were the challenges at that time and the mindset they adopted as a result. Right. So it's very different. People who were born around World War II or Great Depression, I'm going a long time, right? They're gonna see waste and being frivolous in a certain way, whereas we are now in 2025 known as a throwaway generation. We buy clothes that we wear one time because maybe we got them on sale for $10 and we're like, I don't never have to wear that again. But it's just two different perspectives. So just trying to be open and use empathy, put yourself in their shoes. I think that will help bridge the gap in a lot of ways. Because I know one mistake I made, and I think I'm not that many generations away from my kids, but me and my older son who just went away to college, we debated all the time about something silly. I wanted him to use a mouse when he was doing his work on his Chromebook. He would, each school gives them Chromebooks now. So all of his assignments and everything were on this Chromebook, and he refused to use a mouse. And I'm like, do you know how you could copy and paste so much quicker? And other than he's like, I don't like using a mouse. And so eventually I backed off. I'm like, he was born using electronics. I was not. We had to use microfiche back in my day. If you don't know what that is, look it up. So I was like, I'm going to let him do it because maybe there's something about it that's easier for him. And he just called me last week, y'all. And guess what he bought now he's in college? A mouse and a mouse pad. Right? So he finally was like, let me try it the old lady's way. And there's some benefits. So there is that. So as far as trying to bridge those gaps, just be open-minded. Younger generation, respect those elders. There's so much you could learn from them, I promise you. And for my older generation, be patient with the younger folks, right? The world is very different for them than it was for you or I. Having said all that, any final thoughts? We got like 2 minutes.
I just think that that's the thing. If you can find a common ground and realize that everyone is struggling, then it makes you realize like, oh, I don't know what that looks like, or I don't know what it feels like. But if you feel like everything, and this goes for young and old, that the way you guys are doing it is amazing, there's no room for growth. And so that would be the thing. Just try to stay calm and realize that you don't know everything. The older generation doesn't. That's why new information is coming. The younger generation doesn't. That's why people are coming after you. So It all starts to make sense.
I love that. And thank you for our comment. Great show, variety of topics. We love positive feedback. So having said that, we want to thank you all for tuning in. As always, remember, you plant, we water. And we drop my phone. Like what you said, you just hope y'all ain't listening. So you got some outtakes. I'm gonna say you just drowned.
For real.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.